Yeah, so I'm going to go back to growing up and back at William and Mary. I did a ton of games from William and Mary back in the day. Haven't been there in a little while.
Well, hopefully you missed my tenure there, because we didn't do a whole lot of winning, nor were those games too entertaining, but God bless you for that.
No, I know. I came after you, so 1995.
Okay.
Right? That was your final season. Yeah. What was that? What was that experience like? I mean, and when have you gone back, and when you have... Has anything really changed? It's Williamsburg, right? It's historic.
It's historic. No, not much change. Well, I haven't been back in a while. I've only been back, I think, 2 times actually since I graduated.
Okay.
Just been very busy with work and family. But the experience there was tremendous. It was a life-changing experience coming from Washington, D.C. to Williamsburg, Virginia. You know, honestly, the first few months was culture shock. I do recall calling my parents about a month into school saying this is probably not going to work out, very well. It was just, I was trying to get adjusted to the basketball demands and then all of the academic demands, which were quite something. But best decision, I say this in jest, that my mother ever made for me in our lifetime. When I first was offered from William & Mary, she basically told me that this was the school you were going to go to. I had never heard of William & Mary, to be honest with you, at that time. My hopes and dreams and aspirations were, of a bigger program recruiting me, but that was the right level for me, and it was just an outstanding school. I met a lot of outstanding people. Obviously, to leave there with a couple of degrees, it just kind of set me on the right path for life.
Yeah, well, you certainly are right about that, and that's a perfect segue, of course, to many of you people know that, with Mike Tomlin, who I know is a friend of yours who came in. Now he's obviously playing football and you're basketball, and you cross paths there. What is that relationship like? And obviously we know what he is now and what you are now, but take me back to that time of getting to know him there in college.
Well, it's a pretty small school. There are probably, I don't know, 6,000 or 7,000 people there. Right. And so you can imagine the minority population was very, very small. I'm not sure what the number was, but we could probably count us.
Right.
Basically. So there were a few basketball players and quite a few football players who, some were from the area. And in Mike's case, Mike was from Newport News, which is right down the street. But he was just somebody that I kind of gravitated to, as soon as I got on campus. And he was a part of a fraternity called Kappa Alpha Psi. I didn't know anything about fraternity life. I was the first young man in my family to go on to, a 4-year college. So my parents couldn't tell me much about it. So I remember just meeting him, meeting a couple of his friends, hanging out with them, and the next thing you know, I'm like, okay, let me try this. It sounds pretty good. And it was a pretty strenuous process. Let's just leave it at that. But he was one of the older brothers who just always kind of, was there for you. He always gave great advice. He was a truth teller, and he just had tremendous personality. So he was just somebody that you kind of gravitated to.
It's kind of like what you see now when you watch him, right? And the stuff that he brings up, he's really, this is what I feel, and he's going to say it.
Yes,
that's good. Yeah.
That's right. No,
you gotta have that. Now, so you went from there, and take me through the next kind of decade of time before you really got into the coaching ranks in Division I college basketball. I mean, what were you were working on some camps, right, or AAU and in the area in DC? What was going on then?
So I graduated undergrad in 95. I had no idea what I was going to do with a sociology degree.
Okay.
Fortunately for me, there was a gentleman by the name of Dr. Patton, who was the dean of students in the School of Education, the Graduate School of Education.
Right.
We got close. He kind of befriended me, and he allowed me to work for him for a year and a half as I took some graduate level classes. So I ended up graduating, in, I don't know, late July or August of 96. So I took an accelerated course for a year and a half. Thank goodness for him, and because it was paid for. So I earned my master's in education, and then I took that home to DC, where I worked for 10 years in 2 different high schools. One was Archbishop Carroll High School, which is in Northeast Washington, DC, as the assistant dean of students for 3 years, and that's when I got my first break in basketball. A gentleman by the name of Carol Holmes, who was the athletic director at the time, gave me my first break. It allowed me to coach the freshman team and be an assistant on the varsity. So that's kind of how I dipped into basketball while also, the education. And after 3 years, I went back to my alma mater, St. John's College High School, where I was the assistant principal for 7 years. I wanted to coach high school basketball as well. A little bit of a conflict of interest.
Right.
And so I jumped into the AAU world where I coached with DC Assault for 7 years prior to getting into the college game.
Yeah, we know that's where it's all at these days, right? Is everybody in AAU ball and where all the players are coming from. You went to Georgetown, then Rutgers, and then I know, and then when you got to, well, you started at Pitt, but you missed Tomlin for a year, right? Because you were the director of ops, and then he came in after, and that's 07.
That's correct.
So then you're at Georgetown, Rutgers, and then here.
Yes.
To Rhode Island.
Yes.
All right, we all know about Coach Hurley and how crazy Coach Hurley is. We love him, though, right? I mean,
Absolutely.
how much fun was it, and how nutty was it sometimes working with this guy the last 4 or 5 years?
Well, speaking of culture shock, my first year at William & Mary was kind of like my first year here. It was a little bit of culture shock, but it was the best thing for me though. It honestly was, because he's a basketball guy. He's just a basketball junkie. He lives and he sleeps it, and his intensity is, obviously he gets it. It's true. He gets it from his family, from his father, and from his older brother. But he's just a basketball guy. So all of his intensity is directed in one direction, and that is to make the program get it to an elite level, and make every individual player the best possible player that they can be. And if that's your goal, you have to be energetic. You have to be intense. You have to be dedicated to this game. And to be perfectly honest with you, I thought I was dedicated to this game. I thought I lived and slept and ate basketball. Not until I was around Danny Hurley did I know, that there was an entirely another level of dedication. So, I'm very obviously appreciative of the time that we spent together. I learned a lot from him.
Yeah, I could see that, certainly. Now it's your program, and now you're running the show here. Now it's weird because you say you come from William & Mary, Williamsburg, Virginia. Here we are, Kingston, Rhode Island. I mean, there's a little bit of some similarities, right? There's not a ton of places around here, right?
No, you're right.
Where do you go? Like, where do you go eat? Where's your biggest restaurant? What's the best place in this town?
Wow.
Give me something going on here. I've been here a number of times. I can't seem to get a straight answer from anybody.
Well, I have no life. I'm here and I'm at home. Fortunately, I have a very beautiful, loving, and supportive family.
Tasha, your wife.
Tasha, my wife, and my daughter's here. She's a freshman. Layla. And my son's Jacob is a middle schooler. So if I'm not here, I'm at home, and if I'm at home, we're probably out watching Jacob play some basketball. And that's about it. As far as getting out to eat, I'm not sure if I'm supposed to do this, but Matunic Oyster Bar. That is the spot. I mean,
where do you go?
That's it. That's my wife and I love that spot.
Okay.
Obviously, an alum, Perry, right there in that corner on that wall. He runs the place. He's a huge supporter of URI athletics as well as URI men's basketball. So
that's great. That's great. All right, I'm going to check it out. That's okay. Yeah, you can do that. What about summertime here? I know you're busy, you're working, you're recruiting. This is a full-time, year-round job.
Yes.
You know that. What are you doing in the summer, though? It's a beautiful area down here.
It is a beautiful area.
Right.
So if I'm not here, and I'm not at home, when I do venture out, I've learned to appreciate and love the beaches.
Yeah.
Being from D.C., that wasn't something that we did very often.
You appreciate traffic in D.C.
You appreciate traffic. Yeah. So and growing up in D.C., part of our summer vacation for, 10, 12 years, when I was a young fella with my older brother, older sister, and my younger brother, we would take a day and we drive to Kings Domain, which is going
right towards
William & Mary. We'd take a day trip down to Kings Domain and back, and we would also take a day trip to a beach. I think it was Bay Bridge Beach. So we would do that. So I used to love it, but we were only there for a day. But I would love it, just the smell of the ocean water and the sand. So now that I'm here and this place is just lined with beaches, this is perfect. Particularly for me at this age, where when I'm not working, all I want to do is kind of just sit around and relax, and maybe listen to some music or read a book or talk to my wife. The beach is the perfect getaway.
That's great, and I know you're into history too. You're really. I know you were out in Hawaii. Of course, you were probably with the team in the tournament out there, but I guess your wife, right, some of the staff members got to go to Pearl Harbor.
That's right.
All that. Right. What does all that mean to you, and also just in general?
That trip, first of all, in general, I think, although obviously we didn't, win like we had hoped to win, I just thought it was a great opportunity for those young men here, to get to Hawaii, to see and interact with the Hawaiian people, to learn a little bit about the culture, to learn a little bit about Pearl Harbor. Although we didn't get a chance to go over there as a team, we did talk to them, about Pearl Harbor and its effect on American history. But just again, the overall experience, the bonding experience, it was a tremendous experience. And for my family, for me to be able to take my family there, that was awesome. I honestly didn't get out much at all. I think I touched that beach the first day when we had workouts on the beach, and that was it. No shopping, no beach. We did a couple team meals, so I did get out of the hotel for that. But outside of that, I didn't get a chance to see much of Hawaii. But I think the kids enjoyed it. I know my family enjoyed it. So
that's good.
It was
well, it's a lot of work. I mean, we know that. I mean, same thing. I travel for work. I'm always doing games at different places. People, oh, that's great. And it is. It's awesome. But you're working. You know what I mean? You're not really out venturing too much into the town and all the great stuff that many places have to offer. But I know you said when you first got here, you were joking, right? You gave your son, right, Jacob, a scholarship already right off the bat. Right. So he's got to work hard to get that stuff, right? I mean,
the way we're shooting the ball right now, the way my son shoots it, I should probably try to bring him
advance him up a little bit.
Right away.
That's great. That's so funny. Well, hey, we know it starts early. Last thing, any kind of like tendencies or interesting things that you enjoy doing or that you have either before games or practices? Everybody's kind of got something, I feel like. What about for you?
I would say, wow. I do enjoy, honestly, my time alone, my quiet time. And I'll throw on, I'll throw on some music and I'll just kind of let it play. It could be any particular genre, just as long as it, it kind of mellows me out a little bit, and then I usually just kind of go through the entire process of the game, all the different scenarios that could possibly pop up, so that at least I'm not shocked by it.
Sure.
When and if it does happen. But I haven't. Again, I guess I haven't been a head coach long enough to have an established ritual, and obviously what I've been doing over the last 5 or 6 games hasn't been a great ritual, so I might change that up and see if we can.
You'll be fine.
See if we can change our luck here.
No, you're fine. It takes a while, man. I don't think anybody understands like all the different stuff you have to go through outside of X's and O's and coaching basketball. That's and it's hard because you can't always talk about it either, right? You know what I mean? It's like we always say. I mean, I tell people, I go, it's like the chef, right, back there in the restaurant. You just want your steak medium rare, whatever. You don't care what goes on behind the scenes to make it happen. And it's probably a madhouse back there trying to get that thing out in the presentation.
Absolutely. So, no, it's a good way to put it.
Yeah. Hey, great talking to you, Coach. I really appreciate it. You got a great spot here. All the best, and we'll see you again soon.
Appreciate it.
All right, you got it.
Thank you.